Have you ever been there,
Yeah.
in a situation at work, and you know exactly what you need to say, but, well, something just holds you back?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's about where you want your career to go, or maybe a colleague's doing something that's really bothering you, or even just, you know, salary talk.
That really awkward money conversation.
Right. That feeling, that kind of internal battle between speaking up and just staying quiet. I think pretty much everyone's felt that.
Absolutely.
So today we're doing a deep dive right into that whole dilemma. When is it actually smart to bring up those taboo topics at work? And when is it maybe wiser to just bite your tongue?
Yeah.
Our mission here is really to unpack these really delicate communication moments and try to offer a more nuanced view. We've pulled from two pretty distinct perspectives.
Right. One basically argues for more openness.
Yeah.
Fostering authentic leadership, making the business run better.
And the other one highlights the risks, the very real risks that some conversations can pose to, like your professional reputation or just the general vibe in the office.
Exactly. So for this deep dive, we're looking at Let's Talk. Why it's time to stop avoiding taboo topics at work, from Harvard Business School, that features senior lecturer Christina Wing.
Okay.
And on the other hand, top taboo topics you should never discuss with colleagues, from Resume Perk. And what's really interesting is how they sometimes seem to clash, but also kind of fit together in surprising ways.
Yeah, that's what we want to explore. Our goal is to give you a more confident way to handle these situations, give you some practical strategies, whether you're trying to climb the ladder or just, frankly, make your day-to-day work life a bit smoother.
Makes sense.
So let's set the stage a bit. It feels almost like a default setting for a lot of us, right? To just avoid controversial stuff at work.
Totally.
Christina Wing from HBS really nails this. She notes that many people go to great lengths to avoid broaching controversial topics at work. And it's partly because they're worried about backlash or maybe even lawsuits. It's kind of a natural self-protection thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. But this is where Wing makes a really critical point. She argues this avoidance, it creates what she calls an illusion of fake harmony in the workplace.
Fake harmony. It's okay.
Yeah. She asks, what do you speak about with colleagues? Usually it's weather, food, sports, maybe vacation sometimes.
The safe stuff.
Exactly. What we don't talk about, she says, is succession, death, age, sex, health, money, basically all these things that actually affect our ability to do our jobs well. And if leaders aren't engaging with those real issues, the things impacting their teams, it's incredibly hard for them to be authentic.
Yeah.
And that ultimately gets in the way of effective work.
That's a really strong argument against just keeping quiet.
Mm-hmm.
But then you look at Resume Perk, and they give this pretty stark warning. Not all conversations are acceptable in the workplace.
Right. That's the counterpoint.
They basically say sharing certain things can lead to hurt feelings or even damage your professional reputation and your employment with the company. Bam. So that puts the core tension right out there, doesn't it? How do you actually balance being authentic, being real, with being professional and, keeping your job?
That's the million-dollar question.
So before we even jump into what topics are tricky, Christina Wing actually gives 5, she calls them ironclad rules, for how to approach basically any potentially awkward conversation. These kind of lay the foundation.
Yeah, these are really practical. Rule number 1, don't let problems fester. It sounds simple, right? But things almost always get worse or more complicated the longer you wait. Tackling things early can just save so much hassle later. Wing uses this example of Steve. He's nearly 30, about to go to business school.
Yep.
And he really needs to talk to his mother, who's the CEO of their family steel company, about his future there before he leaves, not after.
Right. Timing matters.
Yeah.
And if she tries to put him off like, oh, it's a busy month.
Yeah. Wing suggests Steve can gently push back. Something like, I get that this is a tough month, but honestly, the sooner the better for both of us. I'll schedule a time to talk next month. It shows initiative, sets a boundary respectfully.
Okay, so be proactive, get it scheduled. Makes sense. What's next?
Rule 2, ask for a meeting with at least 24 hours notice. This is key. Don't just ambush someone in the hallway.
Right.
When you ask for the meeting, be clear about the agenda. Give them time to actually prepare mentally. Wing stresses showing a bit of vulnerability maybe, and that you're willing to compromise. It signals you're not coming in looking for a fight.
So for Steve, maybe starting with something like, Mom, I'll really miss living close by, or I truly value how hard you've worked to build this company, kind of softens the approach.
Exactly. It sets a collaborative tone, not confrontational, which leads into Rule 3. Pick a neutral space and meet in person.
Yeah, not over email.
Definitely not email or text. Tone gets lost. Things get misread so easily. You need those nonverbal cues. Wing says, if I've just found out something horrible and you're piling on with a difficult conversation, it isn't going to end well.
That's fair. Context matters.
Meeting in person lets you read the room, make sure you have their actual attention. So for Steve, maybe a conference room with any other key people involved in succession there too. Neutral ground.
Okay. Rule 4.
Keep the goal in mind. This sounds basic, but it's easy to lose sight of in the heat of the moment. What do you actually want to get out of this conversation? Is it just about being heard? Or do you need a specific outcome, a decision? Your whole approach needs to line up with that goal.
So Steve's goal is pretty clear. He needs to know if there's a succession plan and if he's potentially part of it.
Right, so he has to ask those direct questions. No beating around the bush. He needs answers to make his own plans.
Makes sense. And the last rule.
Rule 5. Don't forget to outline next steps. This is crucial so the conversation doesn't just end. You've made progress. Now what happens?
Right. Keep the momentum going.
Exactly. Leave with a clear plan. Who does what by when? For Steve, maybe he offers to draft an email summarizing potential roles for himself, for his mother to share with the board or other key people. It keeps the ball rolling, ensures accountability, makes the talk lead to actual action.
Okay, those 5 rules seem like a really solid framework for the how. So now, let's get into the specific topics themselves.
Yeah, this is where it gets juicy, comparing the HBS take with Resume Perk.
Yeah.
You get these tensions, but also, like you said, some surprising common ground. It really gives you that richer picture we're aiming for in this deep dive.
Let's start with agent succession. What does Wing say about that?
Wing argues pretty strongly that silence around age and retirement plans can cause major problems, like genuine surprise transitions where key people leave suddenly.
Oof, yeah. Chaos.
Right. It limits the company's ability to actually groom successors properly. And, she points out, it can cause your ambitious employees, she mentions ambitious 50-year-olds, specifically to just leave if they don't see a path forward for themselves.
So they feel stuck.
Yeah, exactly. So she advises making discussions about succession and maybe new opportunities part of the regular annual review process. And importantly, making it a policy for all employees to be included in thinking about their own succession, whatever their level.
Wow. Okay, so it's not just about the person leaving. It's about everyone knowing the plan.
Yeah.
Or at least discussing it. That feels much more proactive. It impacts your career path, the team stability.
For sure. It's a strategic issue, not just a personal one.
Okay, what about health? This one feels particularly sensitive.
It is.
Yeah.
Wing shares this really striking story. A company suddenly faced nearly $1 million in unexpected health costs in 1 year.
$1 million? Wow.
Yeah, largely because their plan covered about 1,000 prescriptions for Ozempic, which is often used off-label for weight loss. Now, she stresses, employers absolutely can't go have that conversation about someone's specific medical condition or their weight. That's private, legally protected.
Right. Huge privacy minefield there.
So Wing suggests instead of just cutting benefits across the board, which penalizes everyone, companies should maybe talk about the intent behind the health benefits, clarify they're meant for diagnosed medical needs, not necessarily say lifestyle choices or personal desires. It's a policy-level conversation.
Okay, so focus on the purpose of the benefit, not the person using it. But then, what does Resume Perk say about health? Because I imagine they have a different take for the individual employee.
They do. It's quite different. Resume Perk strongly advises against discussing your health problems at work. They warn that oversharing your medical conditions, treatment plans, or else could make your boss start wondering if your condition impacts your ability to do the job.
Ah, so it could unintentionally raise doubts about your performance or reliability.
Exactly. It's about protecting your professional image, not giving anyone ammo to question your capability, even if they mean well.
So this is a great example of the nuance, isn't it? HBS is talking about the organization discussing health policy and costs. Resume Perk is talking about the individual avoiding oversharing personal medical details.
Precisely. They're addressing different levels of the issue.
Which raises that big question. How can companies deal with significant issues like rising health costs without stepping on individual privacy?
Yeah.
It's a tricky balance.
Very tricky. Okay, next up, politics. Always a fun one.
Oh, yeah. Especially these days.
Wing acknowledges that even during, say, really contentious elections or global conflicts, political chat is often taboo at work. But she makes a strong case, especially for global businesses.
How so?
She argues you simply can't manage something like a proper supply chain. If you're not willing to talk about the politics in those countries where you operate or source from, it's a business reality.
Right, it's about geopolitical risk, not who you voted for.
Exactly. Her advice is keep those conversations strictly professional, focused on the actual business impact. And crucially, management needs to model how to have those discussions appropriately. It's about strategic awareness.
Okay, that makes sense for global strategy. But what about general office chit-chat about politics? What does ResMePerk say?
ResMePerk is way more cautious there. They basically say avoid discussing your political views because people often take them seriously and are unwilling to change their opinion.
Yeah, you're not likely to convert anyone over the water cooler.
Probably not. And it can easily lead to tense relationships.
Yeah.
They argue you're just unlikely to succeed in imposing your view, and you might alienate people in the process.
So again, it's about context and goal. HBS is saying, talk about geopolitics if it directly impacts the business strategy. Keep it professional. ResMePerk is saying, avoid sharing your personal political opinions or trying to debate colleagues, because that's likely to cause friction.
That's the core difference. One is business intelligence, the other is personal belief. Fascinating how the same topic, politics, can be essential in one context and toxic in another.
Absolutely. Okay, let's tackle the big one, money.
Always awkward. Wing points out how often financial differences just get glossed over at work. Like, maybe the team always goes for drinks after work, but some people genuinely can't afford it, leading to this subtle kind of exclusion.
Yeah, that happens.
And she talks about salary disparities, too, people doing the same job but paid differently, and it's all kept hush-hush. Wing believes most managers would actually rather hear why an employee feels they deserve better compensation than just lose that person unexpectedly to a competitor offering more.
So, open the door for salary discussions, rather than risk losing talent.
Kind of. She even touches on privately held companies being secretive about revenue, asking, if we can't trust our employees with this info, why should they trust us? It's about transparency building trust.
That's a bold question.
Yeah.
But what's the ResMePerk stance on discussing your own salary